All right, welcome into Sports with Balls, guys. Sorry, had to take care of something real quick, get my coffee, get ready to go. I hope you guys are doing all right, man. Let's take this music off. Wow, what a way to start the show. Welcome in. I'm Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls on a Monday morning, man. It's already been pretty busy for the New York Giants. I think Tommy D may be your starter for the New York Giants going into this next week, but we will find out. Like I said, happy Monday. Welcome into the show. Those of y'all watching on live on social media, Twitter, Instagram. You know what? Let me get on this Instagram, make sure that we're good to go. There we go. So anyways, today is November the 18th. Of course, we start off the show by the national holidays. Today's Mickey Mouse's birthday. That's right. The legendary Mickey Mouse. It's National Princess Day, Apple Cider Day. What do we got? There's a bunch of Minnie Mouse's birthday as well. I did not know they were created on the same day. I guess why not? Married to a Scorpio Support Day. I don't believe in that shit, but listen, if you're married to a Scorpio, Support Day. Old Socks Day. I've got about 700 pairs that don't match. So Old Socks Day. That's it, man. Mickey Mouse's birthday and Old Socks Day and married to a Scorpio Support Day. Look, guys, leave your questions. If you have any, I'll get to them as soon as I can. Oh, man, dude. What a weekend. College, boxing, NFL. Y'all want to start with this boxing match stuff? Let's go. Let's go. Because I ended it on Friday with the boxing match, talking about Friday morning. I don't know if the fight was fixed. There's so many things out there now between Tyson and Paul about whether or not Paul, could have knocked him out and didn't. Tyson's training looks completely different than his actual fight, which is very true. Whether the fight was fixed, I don't know. There's anything. Conspiracy theorists are going to throw anything out there. What I do know what I saw. First of all, Netflix, you screwed the pooch on this. Mine was buffering as well up until I think the second round of the match. But the actual fighting match, the first three matches, I barely watched any of that because of the Netflix issues. By the way, I don't believe they've issued an apology for that. Nothing, and just kind of went by the wayside because the actual fight itself was terrible. That was hard to watch. That was difficult as a Mike Tyson fan. But I will tell you this. Mike Tyson's last 4 fights prior to this, I mean, even the one with Roy Jones Jr., and you go back to his fighting days, like when he was in his prime or at the end of his prime, those were bad too. His boxing matches he's not the same guy. He went to prison. He got accused of rape. He's been in and out of mental kind of facilities, going through rehab. Mike Tyson's life it's just been haywire, right? He hasn't been a boxer, like a real boxer, since what, age 20, 22, 24, somewhere in there. And now he's 57, and we all expected him to knock Jake Paul out. I think we just wanted him to knock Jake Paul out. Did Jake Paul look great? No. No, he didn't. But Mike Tyson just looked old. Like, it was sad, the whole biting the glove thing. I don't know. Does that go back to the Evander Holyfield thing with him biting his ear? Does he have that biting fixation? Is that why we saw him biting his gloves? I don't know. But it was a bad boxing match. It was sad to watch. It was terrible. The 2 boxing matches prior to that, the women's championship fight was unbelievable. I've never seen anybody melee people like that before. Those 2 women went at it, and it was a bullshit end of the match, by the way. Amanda Serrano should have won. That was a fantastic fight. Man, if you guys get a chance to go back and watch that fight, watch that. That's what the night should have been about, is that fight. And the 2 Spanish fighters going at it prior to that were amazing as well. So overall, 1 to 10 rating on that Netflix Mike Tyson thing is a 5. A 5 because of the buffering, and the only reason it gets up to a 5 score is because of the 2 boxing matches that happened prior to that Tyson Paul fight. After the first round of that fight, the Tyson and Paul fight, it was sad. It was very, very sad to watch. I hated it as a Mike Tyson fan. I hated it for my kids getting to watch. They were fired up. It was 11 p.m. Central Time, and these kids were ready to go. They wanted to see prime Mike Tyson, and they did not. So I felt bad for them and basically half the world. 100 million viewers at some point. 65 million households. Woo! Jake Paul did it. He did what he wanted to do. Guys, you can knock Jake Paul all you want. You cannot like him, but you cannot say that dude doesn't know what he's doing. He knows how to market. My goodness, dude. He got us all. Today's show brought to you by Christian's Tailgate Bar and Grill. Obviously, incredible venue for fights, sports, anything, bro. They have award-winning food there. It's a phenomenal place to go. Go to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. Mark Thiessen at Thiessen Law Firm, TheTexasTrialAttorney.com, 713-864-9000. Mark Thiessen, the best there is. Go watch his videos. The guy is flat out phenomenal and great at what he does. Thiessen Law Firm. Also, Butler CCS. Man, it's pouring down rain down here in the south. Here comes all this great weather that we've been waiting on. Fire, water, mold, roofing, you name it. Go to West Butler at Butler CCS INC on all your social media outlets. Get in touch with him. Let him fix you up. All right, now let's get to the NFL. Should we do college first? No, let's go to NFL. I'm going to do college tomorrow for the simple fact the playoff rankings will come out, and that's going to be interesting. All right, let's start here, man. Bears and Packers. Let's just go with the Packers and the Bears. Packers win, move to 7-3. Bears fall to 4-6. Caleb Williams has led 2 game-winning drives, and they've both ended up in a Hail Mary by one team that beat them and a blocked field goal by the other team. And I want to knock Caleb Williams, but is this the whole Bears organization? He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in, I think, 4 weeks. Caleb Williams. And the Packers, that is a brutal rivalry. I did not think that game, well, I thought the Packers would win by 7. I think the spread was 6.5. They only won by 1 point. That rivalry shows you exactly what that game's all about. The Bears still, they did put up a touchdown for the first time in a long time at home, but that was a field goal festival for the Bears, and it was just brutal to watch. That offense is bad. Chicago's, and they hired that GM. You figured they'd come in here and they got the guy they wanted. It just doesn't look good. They got wide receivers they wanted. The Bears don't look good. They're 4-6, 4-2 at home, but 4-6 overall. And I'm not going to throw the book at Caleb Williams like everybody else is. Give him some time. I wasn't a Caleb Williams believer, but I'm also not a believer in 6 games and you're out of the system. Or 8 games you're out of the system, or 10 games you're out of the system. Give him a season or 2. I'll revert back to the Peyton Manning thing like I always do and how many interceptions he threw the first year. We got to give these guys time. We are so quick to throw these guys out. Give Caleb Williams some time. I think the NFL has humbled him. Let him rest for a little bit. Let him get used to the speed of the game. We'll see what he does next year. Chicago, don't throw everything out the door right now. Packers move to 7-3, 4-1 away. Good football team. Jordan Love, decent game. Josh Jacobs, decent game. Christian Watson had a hell of a game. Fantasy football-wise, guy got it great. Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. There's 2 things here. Number 1, Detroit is a really, really good offensive football team. Number 2, they lost one of their star linebackers with a broken arm yesterday and is out 6 to 8 weeks. Man, his name is slipping my mind right now, but I'll come back to it later. It's just another injury on the defense for the Detroit Lions. But Jared Goff, you knew coming off that 5-pick game in Houston where the Texans actually should have won that game, and then Jared Goff throws 5 picks and wins, that he was going to go off, and boy did he. 24 of 29, 412, 4 touchdowns. One of the most disgusting things was Jameis Williams. By the way, I had him in an anytime touchdown parlay, so way to go, Jameis Williams. But don't grab your crotch falling into the end zone. It's just, this guy, you just got off suspension. You've been in more trouble than anybody, and you're just going to grab your crotch on a touchdown. Dude, a little bit more class than that, buddy. The question here is, are the Jaguars losing their head coach? I say yes. I heard rumors yesterday prior to the game that he would be gone today. So we will see what happens with the Jaguars and if they fire their head coach. I don't necessarily know if it's really his fault. I mean, it is Doug Peterson, but that team's just not. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Trevor Lawrence, is he the answer? You see, this guy's been given some opportunities. You've got Travis Etienne, who was injured last year, but supposed to be phenomenal again this year. Travis Etienne had 12 carries for 27 yards. The bright spot is Thomas Jr., the receiver, the young wide receiver for them. 5 receptions, 82 yards. The guy's phenomenal. But Trevor Lawrence doesn't seem to be the guy. Trevor Lawrence, to me, seems like a really, really good backup, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick-ish. So I don't know. Maybe they move on from their head coach, and maybe they move on from their quarterback here pretty soon. But the Detroit Lions, in anybody's poll, they're top 3 in the NFL. They may be number 1 in a lot of people's poll. They're pretty damn good. They win 52-6. They hit the over. They hit the first half. They hit everything. The spread was 14 points. So if you bet the Lions, good for you. Vikings destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but beat up on the Titans. Titans are a bad football team. That is one of the teams that's in the lottery. Obviously, it's a tank for whoever. But I do not believe that the Tennessee Titans are going to be a factor this year at all. Will Levis, 17 of 31, 295, and his one touchdown was a 98-yard pass. So that 98 of those yards came on one play. The Vikings moved to 8-2. They're a good football team. They don't feel great. The Vikings don't feel great. Sam Darnold has come down from the mountaintop, if you will. He was flying high. They're still 8-2. They're still a really good football team. They still have Justin Jefferson, probably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Aaron Jones, 15 carries, 39 yards. That's not. They played the Titans. That's not a measuring stick for them. They sort of laid off the gas, if you will, in the fourth quarter. Raiders at the Dolphins. When the Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa, they're way better. They are a way better football team with Tua Tagovailoa. So they moved to, let's see, they won 34-19. Raiders fall to 2-8. They're there with the Titans as one of the worst teams in the NFL. Dolphins are only 4-6. Their playoffs hopes. They still, is Tyreek Hill still only have one 100-yard game? I think that's true. The first game of the season. Tyreek Hill yesterday, I know he had a touchdown. Where are we at? Yep, 7 for 61 with one touchdown. 5 targets, sorry. Devon Achane had a pretty good game. Mostert got hurt a little bit. 3 carries and -2 yards. Wow. Tua was 28 of 36, 288, 3 touchdowns, 127 rating. QBR of 90.8. That's good football. But they were playing the Raiders. There was a lot of so-so games this weekend. We'll get to the really good ones here in a second. Where are we at? Rams at the Patriots. Great football game. Matt Stafford threw 295 and 4 touchdowns. He's starting to come into his zone, getting Cooper Kupp back. Puka had a hell of a game, dude. I mean, Puka went off. And I was playing somebody in fantasy, so I was like, what the hell is going on? 7 receptions, 123, and a touchdown. And Kyron Williams had 80 yards, and Stafford, like I said, went off. The Rams moved to 5-5. They've had some injuries, but if they get healthy, they may be able to squeak into the playoffs. I'll go over the standings here in a little bit. Patriots, they're at the bottom of one of the worst teams as well. And then my next team, the Browns and Saints, both of those teams. I'm not even going to go over that game. By the way, here's the one bright spot. Taysom Hill, 7 carries, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If you had Taysom Hill in your fantasy football lineup, you most likely won. I think he scored over 40 points. He threw for a touchdown, I believe. The guy just absolutely went ham. Here's the next game, and I cannot wait to talk about this. The Colts at the Jets. Indianapolis Colts money line was perfect. I hit that one. They won 28-27 in a good, hard-fought game. Colts are a decent football team. The New York Jets. By the way, Anthony Richardson, before I get off the Colts, 20 of 30, 272 and a touchdown. Very respectful. Sitting a couple of games, I think, helped him. He also rushed for a touchdown. So Anthony Richardson had a great game. Great football game. On the flip side, Aaron freaking Rodgers and the New York Jets are now 3-8. They have a worse record than, I think I posted this on social media on Facebook. And that means it's on Instagram and on Twitter and all that. So if you go to social media, go to Sports with Balls, check out all the comments on this stuff. This is ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are, his winning percentage is 273. Sam Darnold's was 342 and Zach Wilson's was 364. So all of those quarterbacks are better than Aaron Rodgers, and he has a way, way better roster. Way better roster. I think, in my opinion, they've already fired their head coach. They're 3-8. Aaron Rodgers is getting old. I think Aaron Rodgers is cooked. I believe Aaron Rodgers should be out of the NFL. They're not making the playoffs. They're 3-8. They're a bad football team. They are a really bad football team. And here's the thing about that. Their roster is not bad. So what is it? You've already fired your head coach and you keep losing? Who's the next most important person? That would be the quarterback. They've got a great roster. There's no leadership. This is Aaron Rodgers' team, and it's 3-8. Tom Brady set a hell of a precedent. And everybody thinks they can go to a new team and magical things will happen. It's not the case. That's not the case at all. Aaron Rodgers, they look bad. They just got beat by the Colts. The Colts are 5-6. And the Jets are 3-8. Oh, dude. Just a bad football team. And it's his numbers aren't really that bad. They're just, Devontae Adams finally, he had a pretty good game last week, but he had 72 yards, 6 receptions. Breece Hall, 78 yards. Breece Hall had a pretty good game. Just the Colts were better. The Jets are not a good football team. They're 3-8. The Achilles heel of New York City, if you will. There's another New York City team that's terrible. New York's having a bad football year. Really bad football year. Ravens at the Steelers. Game of the week. I called it Steelers money line. Great football game. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they get home field advantage in the playoffs, wow, they are good. And it's just like they just do all the right things. Their defense is great. Y'all were all up in arms about Russell Wilson starting, and Russell Wilson is 4-0 as a starter. Justin Fields came in just for a little bit, a couple of plays. They used him, sparingly, but they've got Justin Fields as a backup. Russell Wilson looks comfortable in that offense. They can run the ball, and they can play defense. If you can run the ball and you can play defense, and you've got Russell Wilson as a QB, wow. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you've got $100 extra, throw $100 on them to win the Super Bowl. You might not regret that. The Ravens fall to 7-4, still a good football team. Lamar Jackson coming off his MVP season. He was all the MVP talk up until the last couple of weeks. And it's not like he's done bad. It's just they're 7-4 now. They go to 7-5, then the Ravens aren't that good of a football team anymore. Falcons at the Broncos. Bo Nix has found his groove. Sean Payton has groomed Bo Nix into the QB just that he wanted. Bo Nix was 28 of 33, 307 yards, and 4 touchdowns against a good Falcons defense. They moved to 6-5. Falcons fall to 6-5. Only scored 6 points. Broncos defense is also really good. If the Broncos don't get it done this year, watch out for the Broncos next year. And I just mean by playoffs. I don't think the Broncos are a Super Bowl ready team. Cortland Sutton coming into his own. There's some good football players on the Broncos. And Sean Payton will be in year 3 next year. Got rid of Russell Wilson. Got his guy Bo Nix. And here we go, Bronco country. Here we go. Seahawks at the 49ers. 49ers are just injured. That's all there is to it. Kittle was out of the game on this one. And I think that Bosa got hurt as well. They are just injury prone this year. Geno Smith and the Seahawks go in to San Francisco and beat them. Both teams are now 5-5 on the season. Chiefs at the Bills. We all saw this. Josh Allen's run at the end of the game, phenomenal. You know, here's the only thing that made me mad about this game was that I had Hop to he would have covered my 5-leg parlay if he would have scored a touchdown on an anytime touchdown. And Hop, they threw it to him, pass interference in the end zone, and they got it on the 1-yard line, and the rest is history. I think Noah Fant ended up scoring the touchdown. But the Bills win. The Chiefs' undefeated season falls. They are 9-1, still one of the best teams in the NFL. Bills go to 9-2 and skyrocket up the polls for one of the best teams in the NFL because they did just beat the best team in the NFL at home by 9 points. Bills are 9-2, 5-0 at home. The playoffs, I said this last week, the playoffs in the NFL are going to be awesome. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Vikings. These teams are really, really good, man. The Eagles won on Thursday night. They're 8-2. Some of these teams are fantastic. The Eagles are boring, but they're a good football team. Really good football team. Josh Allen probably gets up there in the MVP talks now, I would think. Pat Mahomes, just doing Pat Mahomes things. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 60 yards. I think the big deal here is will we see Isaiah Pacheco next week? He's off the IR, I think, this coming up week, so we'll see. Josh Allen and the Bills look great. Can they get over the hump? Can they get over the hump and make it to a Super Bowl? We're getting to that part of the season. We're 11 games in. 11 games into the season. We're starting to see some of these teams move to the top that can really probably win a Super Bowl, and the Bills and Chiefs are right up there. I think Bills, Chiefs, Lions, Steelers, right? If you want to throw Baltimore in there, that you really think are Super Bowl contenders, those guys are there. Bengals and Chargers, the late game. Joe Burrow continues his phenomenal season, man. Holy crap, dude. Let me read Joe Burrow's numbers. 3,028 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Holy shit. And he mounted a great comeback, fell short. The Chargers end up winning in a really good football game in Los Angeles. I almost said San Diego Chargers. They're 7-3. The problem with they haven't beaten too many good teams. I mean, the Bengals aren't even one. If you go record-wise, they've beaten the Titans, the Browns, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Raiders. They're like the Penn State of the NFL. Sorry, Penn State. I just, that Bengals game was good, but if you go by record, the only team they beat that was really good was the Broncos, and that was in week 5 when they weren't that good. And they've lost to the Steelers and the Chiefs and the Cardinals. So I'm not going to sit here and put them in my top 5. Chargers are not my top 5 team, even though their record says they're 7-3. They haven't really faced a good football team. There you go. That's my NFL wrap up for, week 11? And then we have a game tonight. The last game, the I-45 battle. Is that right? Dallas versus Houston. I know Kevin's sitting there paying attention, waiting for me to get to this game. The line sits at Houston. The Houston Texans -7. This is in Cowboy Stadium where they're 0-4, where Jake Paul has a victory before the Dallas Cowboys this year. Ouch. Wow. CJ Stroud going up against, I don't know. Who are they? Is it Cooper Rush? They're going to put in today. I would assume Cooper Rush would start this game. This has all the makings of an absolute upset. Sorry, Texans fan. If not an upset, a close game. I believe everybody thinks the Texans should blow the Cowboys out. but this is sort of like a Chicago Green Bay game. It doesn't matter what players are in there. This is a rivalry, a huge one at that. They barely play each other. I would take the Cowboys plus the 7. I don't know. I think Nico Collins does play tonight. That could be a huge difference. If Nico Collins is out of this game, this is a really, really close football game. In fact, I think he moves the line 2 to 3 points. I like the Cowboys at home because the pressure is off. There's no more pressure for the Dallas Cowboys. They're not going to the playoffs. They're Cowboys. Their star quarterback out for the season. Cooper Rush has a week of practice under his belt now with the starting guys. And the Texans just haven't been playing that good of football. And man, don't let the Texans lose this game. This is the Cowboys Super Bowl. This is it. They need to win this game. This is their Super Bowl. There's no other way to put it because their season is pretty much a wash. Who do the Cowboys have after the Texans? I think it's a pretty brutal schedule. Washington, the Giants, who we'll get into probably later on this week. They have a new quarterback. Bengals, ouch. Panthers should be a victory. Buccaneers, ouch. Eagles, ouch. And then the Commanders again. So I'm not counting the Cowboys out, but I'm counting the Cowboys out. So this is the Cowboys Super Bowl tonight at 7:15 p.m. Central Time on ABC. 6-4 Houston, Texas. 3-6 Dallas Cowboys. CJ Stroud versus Cooper Rush. The hype. NCAA football, huge upsets this weekend. Well, upset's a big word, but let's see. The top ranked teams with a loss, number 6 BYU lost to Kansas. Georgia, number 7 Tennessee lost to Georgia. Number 16 K-State lost to Arizona State. Number 18 Washington State lost. 19 Louisville lost. LSU with their 3rd loss in a row and arguing on the sidelines. Wow. And then number 23 Missouri lost. LSU's out of the playoffs. They may be out of the top 25. There's a lot of teams, and we'll get into it tomorrow. A lot of college football teams that are dropping like flies. And it's going to be interesting. This week's games are going to be fun. Starting off with Indiana, Ohio State. Oh, that's on Saturday. We'll see how good Indiana actually is. All right, guys. Let's see. Today in sports history, Jackie Robinson wins the NL MVP in 1949. Wow. 1964, Brooks Robinson wins the AL MVP. In 1966, Sandy Koufax announces his retirement due to arthritis in his left elbow. Joe Frazier in 1970 knocks out Bob Foster. Let's see, for the WBA, WBC, and ring heavyweight champions. Johnny Bench in 70 was the NL MVP. Let's see, there's a lot of stuff going on. Despite missing 45 games in 1980, George Brett wins the AL MVP. Mike Schmidt, second consecutive NL MVP in 1981. What else we got going on? Dwight Gooden and Brett Saberhagen win the Cy Young Award in 1985. Dwight Gooden. Roger Clemens, 86, wins AL MVP. Ooh, Andre Dawson's in here for some stuff. Dale Earnhardt wins the Sprint Cup in 1990. Oh, man. There's a bunch, but there's some tennis stuff. Anyways, Lewis Hamilton wins 2012 U.S. Formula One Grand Prix. The rest is history for that guy. But listen, guys, thank you for paying attention to Sports with Balls. I'll have the podcast version straight up after this. You guys, appreciate you. I'm Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls. I'm out of here.